Lil Wayne's rise from the streets to supercars isn't fantasy. It's the result of ruthless hustle and fearless ambition. Today, we're breaking down Lil Wayne's lavish lifestyle, how he built it, how he lives it, and why it's way deeper than showing off. So, how did he flip raw street credibility into a massive music and business empire? What do his bold real estate moves reveal about his taste and his strategy? And which supercars, jets, and luxury choices actually define the life he's crafted? Let's dive in. Lil Wayne's story doesn't begin with fame. It begins in Hollygrove, one of New Orleans' toughest neighborhoods. He was raised by his mother, a cook, who worked for long hours while he chased a dream that didn't make sense to anyone except him. By age 8, he was already writing rhymes. By 11, he was leaving messages of full rap verses on Birdman's answering machine. Verses so sharp, they stunned a grown man into calling him back. That early spark led straight to Cash Money Records, where Wayne became their youngest artist, carving out a lane no kid his age had ever stepped into. His grind only intensified from there. While other teens were still figuring out who they wanted to be, Wayne was dropping records, sharpening his cadence, and building a following in the South that would soon explode nationwide. His raw talent and relentless work ethic formed a foundation that later became a part of his superstar legacy. But his rise wasn't just about rap. After signing with Cash Money, Wayne paid attention to contracts, to royalties, to ownership. Those lessons shaped the empire he would eventually build. By the time he founded Young Money Entertainment, he wasn't just an artist, he was a kingmaker. Drake, Nicki Minaj, Tyga, 3 careers that reshaped modern hip-hop, all launched under his watch. Wayne didn't just evolve, he elevated others with him. And as much as fans remember the mixtape era, those iconic Dedication and The Drought tapes, insiders remember something else. Wayne worked like someone who never forgot where he came from. That fierce momentum became part of his identity, an iconic hip-hop persona that blended street-bred hunger with laser-focused ambition. And that same fire, the one that lifted him out of Hollygrove, would soon reshape how he built, bought, and lived in a world far beyond his beginnings. Lil Wayne didn't just become rich, he engineered his wealth. By 2025, most reports place his net worth at roughly $170 million, a number built on more than album sales or chart-topping singles. It's the product of strategy, leverage, and one huge financial move that reshaped his entire future. That moment came when Wayne sold his Young Money catalog to Universal Music for an estimated $100 million, a deal that stunned the industry. It wasn't just a payout, it was the moment he transformed decades of work into long-term financial freedom. And it proved something he'd learned early: owning talent and intellectual property is far more powerful than simply performing. On top of that, Wayne became one of hip-hop's most consistent touring machines. Even when trends shifted, his shows kept selling out. Streaming added another revenue pillar. His catalog racks up billions of plays across platforms, a steady digital stream that fuels his fortune year after year. That constant flow of money fed into what is now a luxury rap empire, a nod to how he balances artistry with business. But he didn't stop with music. Wayne turned his name into a brand. Partnerships, limited edition products, fashion collabs, and reported investments that broadened his portfolio. While not all of his business ventures are public, the pattern is unmistakable. Diversify, expand, and make money in places where the spotlight doesn't always shine. Through all of it, he kept one rule from his early days in New Orleans: never depend on just one stream of income. His empire stands on layers: music, touring, ownership, branding, each one reinforcing the next. That's why his fortune runs deeper than hit records. It's built on structures designed to keep growing long after the music stops. Lil Wayne's influence on hip-hop isn't subtle, it's structural. His sound, his cadence, and his experimentation with style and symbolism all helped shape the modern era of rap. That's why people often talk about his hip-hop legacy. It isn't just about music, it's about the lineage he helped create. But influence on that scale comes with friction. Wayne's career has been marked by high-profile disputes, some of them stretching for years. One of the most public battles centered on accusations from a former manager who claimed Wayne owned substantial commissions, a legal fight that spilled into headlines and court filings. At the same time, Wayne was tangled in a long-running dispute tied to Young Money profits and ownership, a conflict that highlighted how messy the business side of superstardom can get. These lawsuits didn't just threaten his finances, they challenged the image he'd built. Critics questioned his spending habits, his legal troubles, and the larger-than-life purchases that fueled his reputation for extravagance. But Wayne pushed back in his own way. To him, the cars, jewelry, and luxury aren't reckless. They're part of a story he's telling about rising from nothing. His lifestyle isn't decoration, it's a symbol of how far he's come and how much he refused to give up along the way. And whether fans see his choices as excess or expression, there's no denying the cultural truth. Lil Wayne's highs, lows, battles, and victories all shaped the modern blueprint of hip-hop stardom. Because every controversy, every triumph, and every luxury he claims feeds into one narrative. Not just fame, but survival and constant reinvention. Lil Wayne's real estate portfolio is where his larger-than-life persona becomes physical. Concrete, glass, and waterfront views turned into a flex you can literally walk through. His most talked-about purchase? A massive waterfront mansion on Allison Island in Miami Beach. Reports show he picked it up for around $17 million before later listing it for about $29.5 million, a move that turned luxury living into a potential profit play. The numbers alone tell you Wayne doesn't just buy property, he plays the market. Inside, the mansion is a full-on architectural flex. Over 10,600 square feet, 7 bedrooms, ceilings so high they feel like you stepped into a private museum, plus a wine cellar, home theater, and an elevator. It's the kind of home that doesn't whisper wealth, it announces it, and it matches the persona he's built across music and culture. A blend of style, swagger, and ambition you can see, touch, and open with a key. But the property that still lives strongest in fan memory, his former La Gorche Island house, which he reportedly sold for around $10 million. This wasn't just luxury, it was Wayne-level luxury. A rooftop skate park, a shark lagoon, a setup that felt like someone handed a teenager everything they ever dreamed of and said, "Go wild." But behind the spectacle was a business move. A home purchased, lived in, and branded by his lifestyle, and eventually flipped. Whether it's waterfront views, private docks, or custom amenities that look ripped from a music video, Wayne's properties say something bigger. He's not copying the classic celebrity blueprint, he's building his own. And each home reflects both the artist and the strategist. Flashy on the outside, calculated underneath. Because for Lil Wayne, buying a house isn't just buying a home, it's claiming a statement in concrete, cash, and coastline. Lil Wayne's garage looks less like a parking space and more like a museum of horsepower, built by a man who treats speed the way he treats music, bold, loud, and never half done. One of the crown jewels is his Bugatti Veyron, a hypercar so expensive and rare that most rappers only rap about it. Wayne actually owns one. According to reports, the Veyron sits at the top of his supercar lineup, and it's one of the clearest symbols of his extravagant rap lifestyle. But the Veyron is just the beginning. His collection has long been rumored to include a Mercedes Maybach, a Bentley Mulsanne, and an Aston Martin Vanquish. Vehicles that aren't just bought, they're curated. These aren't random luxury pickups. They fit a pattern. Wayne tends to choose cars that reflect different parts of his persona. The Maybach for executive swagger, the Bentley for comfort and class, the Aston Martin for raw performance. Each car plays a role in the mythology he's built over decades. And that mythology doesn't stop on the road. When Wayne travels, he goes above the road, literally. Private jets and high-end aviation charters are a regular part of his movement. Whether he's bouncing between shows, recording sessions, or business meetings, the skies have become a part of his daily commute. For someone who moves at Wayne's pace, commercial flying just doesn't match the rhythm. But here's where it gets interesting. Wayne's spending isn't the chaotic splash some outsiders imagine. Yes, he buys flashy things. Yes, he lives luxuriously. But every purchase also reflects an image, a brand, a legacy he's spent decades shaping. His cars elevate his public persona. His travel elevates his workflow. Even the most extravagant choices reinforce the stories fans already believe, that Wayne lives differently because he earned differently. At the end of the day, Lil Wayne didn't just escape the streets. He outran them, outworked them, and outshined them. And every mansion, every jet, every roaring supercar is a reminder of just how far he pushed himself. His story isn't about luxury, it's about liftoff.